New York Times best-selling author. He is a public speaker. He has his own radio show that he does called the Cardone Zone. He is a regular contributor on Fox News. He does everything. I don't think he sleeps. I don't know if he eats, but he does everything. But he's all about giving advice on how to improve your work life and your finances. Grant Cardone is joining the 3 Degrees Talk Show, so give him a 3 Degrees welcome as you come on. Welcome, Grant.
Dude, oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hey, how about we go to the 4th degree? You know, hey, let me tell you, that music that I was listening to in the middle, I don't know what you call that music, but it was talking about show me how to get rich or tell me how to get rich.
That's right. Yeah.
Dude, that is the message for America right now. How do you get rich? How do you get out of the middle class? Because the middle class is under attack, and it's disappearing. It's being erased, and your audience needs to do everything they can, particularly the women. Women, ladies, you got to find a guy out there that knows how to roll and knows how to accumulate and knows how to put it away so he can take care of a future for you.
Oh, can I record that and put that on my phone?
Sure you
play
can.
That back, and I need to play that
Check
back.
the man's credit score before you go out with him.
Wow.
See what? All right. See, Grant, you're starting off. You were. I was with
Grant.
you. I was with you all the way up till you went to check his credit score. A woman tried that with you.
Look, guys. If you can't take care of Visa, how are you going to take care of Vincent and Vanessa?
True point. I can't argue the point. I'm just saying that I want to take her out to dinner before she checks my credit score.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It's too important now. It's not like our parents. Today, money is vital. It's critical. It's not just about, oh, I love you. You got great teeth. You got great hair. You got great pecs. I'm in love with you. That doesn't last. What lasts is all the difficulties and challenges of being in the middle class today because it's under attack. You got inflation coming. You got competition. Jobs are being shipped overseas. Regardless of what politicians say, they cannot protect the people. Only the people can protect themselves now.
Okay, fair point.
You didn't know I was going to get all serious on you guys, huh?
Did not. Well, actually, we knew you were going to get serious. We just didn't know it was going to happen so quickly.
I just cut the foreplay, you know.
Understood. Well, see, now that's something that the ladies probably would not like. So
no, they would like it. They would like it, dude. They don't mind it if you do it right.
Oh my goodness!
But you got to be a pro when you do it. I mean, a real pro to get away with that.
Well, great. All right, Grant. Well, look, let me ask you a question. So I noticed you do your radio show, the Cardone Zone, and when I was doing a little research, I saw that you actually did a show like a couple of weeks ago called "Are You a Baller or a Pretender?" And so today's show that we had named it, not knowing that you had done this show, Ballers or Busters, Who You With?
Yeah.
And so, in some cases, imitation is the highest form of flattery. So some kind of way in the subconscious, we wanted to repeat this show, but with you on. And so,
yeah, okay.
I ask you this question about balling. What do you consider? A lot of urban terminology. They talk about balling in 2013. Today, what is balling, and is there an income associated with that, or is that a mindset?
Well, that's a good question. Well, there's the baller. They're referring to basketball, and then there's the gang member that could be a baller. But when I talk about a baller, I'm talking about a guy that he runs deep, not just with money, okay? But it just so happens that to me, if a man or woman is going to truly take care of their family, and I'm not talking about your husband and your kids, I'm talking about your extended family, mom and dad, you need money to do that. In the business world, a baller is a guy that can, he's rolling on the yacht, he's buying his Cuban cigars, he buys whatever he wants to buy. He picks up the meal for 20 people, and it doesn't hurt him. The pretender is the guy that's acting like he can pick up the bill, but then his credit card gets called in for a limit. He's not there yet, dude. He's acting like he's a player, and he's not there yet. Look, it takes a lot of time and dedication, a long period of saving money, investing money, and doing courageous things with money to really become a baller. somebody that can pick a bill up and not worry about that bill. It takes a long time. It's not an overnight thing. It's not that pretender. I think most people are pretenders.
Gotcha.
And they never become ballers because they're pretenders.
Right.
No, I think you're on. So in the context of what we're talking about, that's what we would call busters. I mean, and I think that we. And I think that there's so many ways now. I mean, with social media being so prevalent, where people have taken that, they can actually put you on blast as to the fact that you are a buster. So they can put it on Twitter, they can put it on Instagram, they can put it on Facebook, and let you know that. So it's even more important today to have all.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of a buster. Okay, one example. This could offend somebody. Okay, y'all ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Absolutely.
We love offense.
Single guy. He's got one car. It's a convertible, and he's got two kids from another marriage, but he's still rolling in a convertible two-seater. That's a buster.
Good thing I have two cars, because I do have a convertible.
Yeah, you see, there you go. You're all right then. You're covered, man.
Got it. No, that's
because
great.
It's not practical. You wouldn't have a two-door car, right? When you got two kids that are crammed into the back seat, you got clients you got to take out. You're just doing it to look like something.
And we do see a lot of that in particularly in the African American community. We're trying to figure out ways to do a better job of not faking it until you make it, which is what some people say that they try to do, but you really can't fake the things that happen in business. So I asked you this question about focus. In terms of focusing on how to grow your worth the fastest, if you're short on funds and you're trying to build a business, should you spend your money first on, is it on advertising? Is it infrastructure? Where should you put your focus when you're trying to grow a business?
The number one problem with every business that I've been into in 25 years is revenue. You'll hear a company talking about all kinds of problems, but at the end of the day, even for a family, because a family is basically a business, right? I mean, really, it's a business. You got to operate it. It's got to work. You got to pick the things you're going to spend money on or not. Same thing in a company. The number one issue that a business should be looking at is revenue. The top half of a financial statement is the revenue. That's the top 6 or 8 lines, depending on how complicated the company is. The top lines are all about revenue, the gross receipts, the sales, the income of the company. I spend 95% of my time on the top half of my financial statement. I only spend 5% of my time on budgets, spending, where the money's going, expenses, payroll. I don't care about that. If I can get that top half big enough, fat enough, juicy enough, consistent enough, I don't mind spending the money. There's 21 million small business or 28 million small businesses in America. 21 million out of 28 only have no employees. They're basically a one-man shop. That means they're committed to staying small, which is a major, major mistake. You got to expand if you want to grow your business. You need people, and you need to spend money to do that.
So then, what would you consider the biggest mistake that small businesses make? I mean, outside of like the top half, I mean, and looking for revenue.
They stay small. They're focused on contraction and conservative and protecting themselves rather than expansion. You can't become wealthy contracting. Today you can't become wealthy trying to save money. It's impossible. You have to expand and you have to create wealth. You can't save your way the way your grandfather might have. He lived in the same house for 35 years. He died in the house, his first and only home. And when he died, his house was worth $120,000. And they said, "Oh, my God, Grandpa made it." No, Grandpa died with a little bit of money.
Right.
That ain't rich, man. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Grant. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please finish.
No, go ahead.
No, we're talking about small businesses, and the operating thought around a lot of small businesses, and you said one of the biggest things that they do wrong is that they don't think about how to expand out their business. You know, we always hear that you have to invest back into your business to grow. What is a safe percentage of your revenue that you invest back into it, that you have that continual growth? Of course, we know that is never, ever a given that you're going to be able to expand out to where you would like to be if you have that forethought. But what's a safe percentage of your revenue to invest back?
You know, I try to net somewhere between 20 and 40% of every gross dollar. So if I want to net 20%, that means I got 80% of all my revenue dollars that can go back into equipment, expansion, promotion. You know, but again, I want to put all my attention on driving my product into the marketplace. I want to spend 95% of my time and energy pushing my product, selling my product into the marketplace, whether it's a book, equipment, a service, an idea. I'm raising money for a movie. You should spend 95% of your time, and 95% of your staff should be focused on how do I get my product. The receptionist at my office, if you call there, she's going to say, thank you for calling Grant Cardone's office. Who can I direct you to? And they're going to say, oh, give me Bill. And then she's going to say, do you have one of Grant's books yet? The website developer, the social media people, everybody there is focused on getting the product into a customer's hands. Because if I have good products and they truly help people, then the company is built on that, not on an advertisement. It's about people. People need to promote their goods and services. Look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. Look at how they promote themselves. Constant, relentless.
But can you oversell?
They're great examples for all of us. Oh, no, impossible to oversell if you've got a great product.
I'm just because sometimes people get, some commercials, and we just those commercials that annoy us, and we can never get them out of our head, and we tend to stay away from them sometimes, not because they're not a good product, it's just we're just tired of seeing them, and we're trying to figure out how it actually influences or fits into my life. So I'm like, can you oversell something to the point that you kill it in the market that no one wants to buy simply because they're annoyed?
Impossible.
Okay. Just curious.
Impossible to over-promote.
Yeah,
no, that's good. It's impossible. One of the major problems for people today is not money, it's obscurity. It is the single biggest problem I have in my own company. You guys didn't know me until John Lamb turned you on to me, right?
Right.
That's a problem. If you don't know me, you can't buy my product. So I need to be on a street corner today screaming and yelling constantly, relentlessly until you hate my guts. Because if you're not criticizing me, and if you don't actually start disliking me, every great company has haters. And most people never promote themselves to the point to where they get criticism that turns into any more than just a little grumbling. So you want to get people to really know who you are. I don't think you can oversell yourself or your product or get too much attention personally.
So, Grant, we've got a question from our chat room. This is from Kiana. She wanted to ask you, what is the best way to arrive at baller status? Do we follow the Dave Ramsey approach, or what do you suggest?
Well, I know Dave, and Dave says, all debt is bad debt. But if you look at great companies like Coca-Cola and Caterpillar, they have tremendous amounts of debt, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt. I personally like debt. I like cheap debt that other people will pay for. So if I take a loan for $40 million and I get other people to pay that loan off, I think that's a good loan. The way I did it was I worked extremely hard. I got one flow of income coming in. I beat that one flow to death until I got so consistent at it that till I knew that business was working. Then I started a second business. And when I started the second business, unlike a lot of people, they start a second business and the first one falls on its face. You don't want to start a second business, a second flow of income, which most people agree with multiple flows. Don't start the second one if you're going to lose the first one. The only reason to have a second, third, and a fourth flow is to have a second, third, and a fourth flow. So I started my second company. I stayed on that, stayed at the helm, worked it until it was going, and then I started a third company. Now they're all working. Now I have multiple flows coming in. I've saved that money. I've made extremely wise decisions with it. I've been extremely disciplined. And then one day you look up and you're like, shit, I can't spend all this. Baller.
We are on with Grant Cardone on the 3 Degrees Talk Show on Blog Talk Radio. If you want to ask a question, you could call us at 347-857-2729, 347-857-2729. He is letting us know how to be a baller and not be a buster. I'm going to get this one more question in, and as we're wrapping up, but I want to ask the question from Joy. She's another one of our co-hosts, but she couldn't join us tonight. But she sent us a question once we found out we were going to be interviewing you, and she says she's a field sales training manager for a Fortune 100 company. What do you think is the biggest difference between how people sold in 1995 versus how we need to be selling now? And how do you retrain a guy who's been selling since 1985?
Well, I think the big difference is transparency. Look, regardless of what product you're selling, your consumer today knows more about that product, could know more about that product than the company because of the internet, because I can go online. You know, there's a thing called, showrooming today. Showrooming for brick-and-mortar companies like a Macy's or Sears, showrooming is where the consumer goes to the showroom, shops there, and then goes home and buys online. All the major retailers are extremely concerned about showrooming. Look, showrooming exists because salespeople don't. Salespeople need to be, 10 times better than 10 years ago. The consumer's aware. The consumer has choices. The consumer is concerned. The consumer's scared. It doesn't mean they don't have money. It just means they're uncertain. So if I'm uncertain, I'm a little worried about my money. Even if I have money, I'm a little uncertain today. And I go into the marketplace, I go to buy a product, or I go to invest money with Morgan Stanley. I'm doing research online. If the person selling me is uncertain, dude, they're dead today. 10 years ago, they might get away with it. So I would just tell her she needs to really sit down with her salespeople and explain to them. And I'm happy to do this. I'll do this for her. I'll Skype into her company and tell her salespeople the truth about what's going to happen to their incomes over the next 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. If they don't change, they are going to get squashed. They will be out of work. They will not be able to take care of their families. This is not a little threat. This is an actual threat. People are under threat right now, and they don't know, and they need to wake up and get really serious about taking care of their families. And that, by the way, is also what a baller would do. A baller is going to take care of their family. It's not going to be a baby daddy that just walks away.
Well, Grant, you said earlier that women should be more proactive in their netting their future. So what is your approach? What was your suggestion to that?
Well,
how would I do that? You said middle class is under attack.
See, I wouldn't go out with a guy that didn't have money.
Well, duh.
I'd say, hey, dude, let's talk about your finances, bro. What's your net worth? Because I'm going to tell you something, and I know how offensive that sounds to people. Immediately when I say that, everybody just cringes. But the truth is, if you walked into a room, if you walked into a country club where my buddies hang out, and they got money, and you walked in and you got your whole program together, and you say, hey, I'm looking for a rich guy, nobody in the room would be shocked. They all know you're looking for a rich guy. In fact, that's why they got rich. They want somebody on the same page with them. They didn't get rich to keep it for themselves and live life by themselves. So that they would respect that. So, but I know you got audience right now listening to this saying, "Oh my God, I can't even imagine doing that." No, what you do is you walk in and you're willing to take any guy. No money, no finances, behind on his car, can't buy a house, and you're going to get married to a guy you're going to spend the next 30 years with because he's got good teeth. You wouldn't do that if you were going into business with somebody, right?
So
like if me and you were going to get into business, would you want to look at my finances?
Of course.
Exactly. Well, this partnership called marriage or love, man, that's a big deal. That's way more complicated than just a business.
So are you saying that we should approach it first as a business understanding before we even enter into the realm of love?
I would.
Why?
You can marry more money in a day than you can make in a lifetime.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and so
wow.
Wow. I think there's a lot to what you say that I get. I think it's probably timing that I would challenge. I wouldn't challenge the components of having the conversation that you have, and I think, obviously, a lot of times people get afraid of having that conversation. But I do think that there is a time and place. So I think that's maybe where some of the people that are pushing back is, when is that time?
Yeah, you mean you don't pick her up at the front door and say, "Hey, let's talk money."
Right.
Probably right.
Correct. So and a lot of times the people who do that, so I can buy into almost every part of it. The people who do that normally are, even on the women's side, normally are not people who are mature enough, and they don't have money either. That's why they're looking to you to hopefully say, "I want you to pull me up." Well, I don't, as someone who has money and has some things together, I want us to be pulling each other up. I want each other to challenge each other to grow something together versus, hey, I don't have anything, and so I'm latching on to you to hope that you pull me out of the muck and mire that I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's it. I got one more question. I know that I think one of our listeners had sent in, and that was, this is someone who listened to your prior podcast on your show about owning versus renting a house. And so, and the concept that our parents all thought that the American dream was, having a house, 2 kids, picket fence, and wondering whether or not you believe that to still be true.
No. A house is a terrible, terrible, terrible investment. The American Realty Association has convinced, and the banks have convinced hundreds of millions of people that the American dream is to buy a house. Dude, if the American dream is to mow a lawn, then go get you a house. If the American dream is, I need to paint the walls on the weekends and I need to put wallpaper, then I need to fix toilets. If that's the American dream, go get you a house. But that's not the American dream. The American dream is to have financial freedom. By the way, that dream is all the way around the world, not just in America. And a house is not a dream. In most cases, a house is a nightmare. And it's not a way to create wealth. If you go back 40 years, the last 40 years, if you owned a house for 40 years, you would have only made 1% per year on your money. That's not an investment. That's a trap.
Okay. So what would you say to those who, if you looked at I would say that if you used up until, the collapse of the economy, which had, nobody could foresee under normal, economic circumstances happening, that, there's always had been a growth, model for real estate. So are you saying that as it relates to how things have progressed now? Are you saying that as how they've gotten to now? Or are you saying that as just an overarching piece? No,
I would look. I love real estate. Okay, I absolutely love real estate. I just bought 1,500 apartments in Florida. I would tell somebody, rather than getting tied up in one house, go buy 10 or 15 or 20 units that people rent from you, and they pay for the property taxes, they pay the debt down, they pay the expenses, and you make money. And you rent your house. So what you would normally spend your money to buy a house, you use that to accumulate wealth and build a second business and own real estate. Own real estate that can make you money, though, not real estate you live in. So if you look at oh yeah, look, I rent a place right now. I've owned 3 different homes over the last 22 years. I've made money in all my homes. I'm still telling you, a home is a bad deal. I came to Miami. I sold my house in Los Angeles up in the Hollywood Hills. It was a great house. And moved to Miami. I sold the house. I used all the money to buy multifamily. I may never own a home again. The home play is over for most people.
So are you a renter or a leaser?
I guess I'm a leaser.
Okay.
It's a long-term lease. I mean, it's a condo. It's a great place. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place, but I don't want the property taxes. I don't want the maintenance. I don't want the HOA fees.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I just want it where I can buy a lot more.
Sure.
Because I can get a loan. I can get a loan on apartments easier than I can get a loan on my own house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that's awesome.
And it's a way. It's a way to create wealth too.
Absolutely. Well, look, we're running out of show time, but I do want to make sure that for those people, those who have not listened to you, like you said, you got to start selling some more books and get some more people like us who have never heard of you to know a little bit more about you. So can you tell the people where they can find you? I know that you got, we didn't even do some of the parts that talked about your National Geographic show, Turnaround Kings, you've got your radio show. You do a lot more. How can people get in contact with you and get more of this great analysis?
You can follow me on grantcardone.com. That's my website. Or you can go to Twitter. I'm extremely active on Twitter. I have a few friends there. I'm at Grant Cardone on Twitter. And, I truly want to help people. I want to leave my legacy now. And the help that people get today is from Susie Orman that says, save, 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 don't spend anything. Or it's Dave that says, don't borrow money. And I have a little bit different position. Look, you got to create wealth for yourself. Anybody can do it. The American dream is alive and well. It takes a tremendous amount of focus and discipline, but the opportunity is available for anyone that is hungry.
Yeah,
I believe that. Well, look.
Hey, one last thing. It's like and when he's being modest when he says he has a few followers on Twitter. I'm not going to say how many followers he has. He has more than a few followers on Twitter. And when somebody is followed is when they retweet you, and you pick up about 5 to 10 different followers from when they retweet you. That's how it happens. So that's what happened. So we appreciate that, Grant. We got some more followers.
Appreciate you guys. All right.
Well, great.
Appreciate you guys. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it. I appreciate that. And that's Grant Cardone giving us the third degree on the 3 degrees of separation on blogtalkradio.com.